Hello, this is Ollie, the developer of Drawingbot v3. In this video, we're going to look at creating some cool inverted style drawings. So this is drawing on black card, black paper, with gel pens or pens which can keep their color on black. And this is a really cool way of drawing some images that aren't really possible to draw on white paper. For example, you might have an image like this where almost everything you see is black. So if we try and draw this on white, we're going to quickly see that we run into a problem. So if we hit start, it's just going to try and draw all of these really dark areas, and which isn't ideal. And this is why I generally recommend going for brighter images for your normal Drawingbot plotting on white paper, just because it's far easier for the lines to represent them unless you limit the black areas in other ways. But yeah, with this example you can see it's really not representing the image very well, and it's a bit of a mess, and it's going to be drawing on the black areas for a long time, and it's going to take us a very long time to plot. But if we draw on black paper, we can really minimize this, and there's far less to draw. So to do this, we just want to set our canvas to black. Under image processing, we want to add an invert filter. So to do that, you just go to colors and then select invert and then add. You can see now we're seeing an inverted version of the image. And then I can go down, and this is actually so far all we need. I'm going to hit start. And as you can see, it's already drawing the face rather than all this extra detail around the outside. It's already drawing the things that actually matter to us by having this inverted style. At the moment, the lines are quite dark, but we can quickly change that when we fiddle around with our pen settings, which we'll do next. So I'm going to hit stop on that. You'll see that you get this kind of weird inverted style again, which doesn't look right. This is simply because it's drawing the pens in the wrong order, because we drew an inverted image. So instead of order darkest first, we need to use lightest first. Now it is distributing the correct pens in the correct areas, and we're getting a really cool looking inverted style, and it barely took any lines at all. So if we have some gel pens which are ranging from like white to a darker grey, we could create something like this. Equally, we could draw this just with one pen, so we could delete these other pens and then just leave the one brighter pen, and then we can kind of fiddle with how many lines we want to draw. I'd say in general though, it's obviously still better if you have maybe two pens, which can then show the difference in brightnesses a little bit better. Let me choose these two pens maybe. And you get the idea. But of course, if you do have pens which can represent all of these different colors, you're going to get some cool results. If you don't have the middle grays, you could replace these with maybe some blues and some maybe some oranges as well, and then you can get the same kind of effect of having those middle grays mixed with white, because they still read as slightly darker, because grey pens are kind of harder to come by. And as you can see, yeah, this creates a really cool style, and we can do the same with other images. So I'm going to drag this one in. And again, it's starting from the face. So if you want to see what it's kind of going to look like a bit earlier on, we can stop this and run it with the grey pen at the top, because whichever pen is at the top will be what the preview is drawn with. So this gives us a better idea to begin with. So maybe let's stop it there, and then yeah, we're getting a really cool style. So if you draw this on black paper, it's going to look really cool. And then you can still fiddle with the pen colors and stuff, and with this inverted style there are some really cool combinations of pens. Again, you've got to have the gel pens to do it, but if you do, you're going to have a lot of fun with this. But there's one more thing I'll show you. If you're creating artwork that's actually just for digital outputs. There is a new pen which I've added to help with creating this kind of style. So if you go to Special and then Original Color, this is now drawing the samples from the original image but inverted. The reason we need to use the inverted version is, of course, the image we actually fed into that was this. So we need to invert it back again to get the original colors, and then we end up with something like this. And this is just really cool for if you're creating art for another purpose, just for you know, printing or putting on your living room. You could very easily print this style, and yeah, it would come out looking really good. So for the examples I showed so far, I was just using the Sketch Sweeping Curves, which is the new pathfinding module, but you can use any pathfinding module you like. So now I'm using LBG Shapes, and this works just as well in the inverted style and creates a really cool looking result. Obviously there are a lot more pen lifts in this pathfinding module, but there aren't actually that many shapes really to draw to get this final result. We could also try LBG Dashes, which looks really cool in this style. This is an example using ECS drawing, which I showed in a previous video. I think this can actually create some really cool looking results in the inverted style, because these kind of the sharp lines that it produces look really good, white on black. Yeah, and again, I'm plotting this just with one white pen, so it's very plottable. Here's another example with ECS drawing inverted. I think what's really cool about this one is how it really exaggerates the eyes. We could also decrease the amount of shading we have here. That's a middle ground where it kind of looks like it works. But yeah, again, another thing to play with. The final thing I'll say is a lot of this comes down to just picking a good image. So I was picking images like this where it's a completely black background and the person is the only bright area, and again the same is with this one. And if you pick an image like, say for example this one, this is obviously not going to work because it's way too bright, like the emphasis is not on the building, so you're just going to get it drawing over all of the empty areas and it can't really decide what it wants to do with them. So that's obviously, so you need to be careful with what images you actually pick. So let me just reset this. So yeah, pick images which are on the whole they are black. I hope that gave you some more ideas of different styles you can create, and I look forward to seeing what you make with this.